What's up everyone, and welcome back to the Fight Night MMA. UFC 320 is finally concluded, and it lived up to the hype. Ankalaev and Poten gave it their all in the rematch, and here's how the experts predicted the fight would play out.
Tom Aspinall versus Alex Pereira for the heavyweight world championship at the fucking White House. Main event.
Here we go, round one. We're doing it. Oh my God, he's coming out. Let's go. Let's go. Knock his ass out in the first round, baby.
Oh, getting after right away. Yeah,
Jesus.
Oh,
there we go.
He's hurt.
Nice down block.
Nice, bud. Nice. Let's go, baby. Don't pee yourself out.
No, bro, these are gonna be heavy.
Pick those shots. Don't pour a bunch of. Oh.
12 to 6. That's legal. Stop it. He might stop.
Holy. Holy. Who said what owl will be knocked down the first round? This guy did.
Yep,
huh?
we picked
That's
it.
right. Did you really?
Holy. Chama's
Nice.
back. Chama is back.
Look at that.
Just calm. Dude, Pereira came out aggressive. Ooh, big right hand from Pereira. He hurt Ankalaev. He's throwing hammer fist. He's covering up here. He's blocking. He's covering up. He's surviving here. What's he doing? Don't you stop it, Herb. Don't you dare stop it. He's blocking this. Herb jumps in? What? What? Why would he jump in there? He was blocking everything. I'm done. That's crazy, man. That's crazy. That's a crazy win for Pereira. Hurt him with a right hand. Blocked every shot on the ground, but Ank's got to move. That's insane. That's insane. Pereira wins. Got to be Ulberg next, I guess. That's fucking insane, man. Herb just jumped in.
Right hand from Alex wobbles Ank. He's wobbled. Ankalaev's wobbled in round one. Big shots from Alex on top. Big shots from Alex on top. Stop it, Herb, please. Big shots from Alex on top in round one. Ankalaev's really badly hurt. Big elbows. It's going to be over. It's going to be over. It's going to be over. Herb fucking step in. Let's go. Fuck that fucking freak. Humanity. Humanity. Ridicule that goblin freak. You big gnome. Thick off. Let's go. Let's go. Humiliate that fucking gnome. Let's go, Alex. That fucking freak. Chama. Chama. Let's go. Yes. Heavyweight, Tom, fulfill your deal. Fulfill your deal, Tom Aspinall. And I want to see Tom Aspinall versus Alex Pereira for the heavyweight world championship at the fucking White House. Main event. Alex Pereira, Tom Aspinall, heavyweight undisputed world championship. The chance for 3 belts at the White House in June.
People love him. People love the way he fights, and can't be bummed out with the way he performed this evening. So today I was at work and had a bunch of meetings over there this afternoon, and I went over to the PI, and he was over in the PI, and I'm like, well, you're the last guy I expected to see here today. What are you doing here? And they're telling me we want to fight at heavyweight. I said, how about we win tonight and focus on tonight, and then we could talk about heavyweight. And I don't know. There's still fights here in this division. But we'll see. I mean, this guy has been an absolute stud for us. He's on vacation in Australia, flies over and fights because, somebody fell out. He fights when he's hurt. He doesn't care. He wants to fight everybody. He wants to move up to heavyweight.
Michael Bisping was sure that Magomed Ankalaev would have the upper hand against Alex Pereira by relying on his wrestling to pin him to the cage and dictate the pace. He anticipated Ankalaev keeping up the pressure and landing powerful strikes, continuing the blueprint from their first fight. Although Pereira's toughness and kickboxing pedigree made him dangerous, Bisping felt Ankalaev's adaptability and non-stop pressure offered him several paths to victory and could eventually wear Pereira down.
Who wins this fight? I think it's going to be the same way. I think Magomed Ankalaev, because of the wrestling, will force Pereira back up against the fence. I think we'll see a lot of control time. I think we'll see Magomed Ankalaev landing some big shots just like we did last time. I think it's just going to be a continuation of the first fight, round 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Will it get to the 10th round? I don't know. Alex Pereira is not an easy man to finish. Of course, he's got an extensive resume in kickboxing. He's got a solid chin. He ain't no pussy, and he ain't like been knocked out. He's not damaged goods or anything like that. The reality is, styles make fights, and Ankalaev can take his shots, he can land the shots, he can take him down, he can pressure him, he's got more ways to win, and that's going to overload the mind of Alex Pereira.
Michael Bisping also believed Magomed Ankalaev would use a blend of wrestling and striking to keep his title. He viewed Ankalaev as more than a standard Dagestani wrestler, emphasizing his skill in blending multiple aspects of combat. Bisping expected Ankalaev to land the heavier punches and ultimately get the win to remain champion.
And even though Ankalaev isn't your typical Dagestani wrestler, the man does combat sambo. He's Dagestani. He knows how to wrestle, and that will play a factor. I think the most damage is going to be done with the hands, and I think Ankalaev does get the job done, and he will remain the champion.
Similarly, Demetrius Johnson thought Alex Pereira would win the rematch with Magomed Ankalaev. He said Pereira had trouble with Ankalaev's pace in the first fight, but after seeing Pereira's recent fights, he believed Pereira looked fresh and ready. Johnson felt this new energy could help Pereira win the second time.
Who do I have winning in the rematch? Ankalaev taking an Alex Pereira. I'm gonna go with Alex Pereira. The reason why is because I felt in the first fight, I felt Alex Pereira just didn't have an answer for the rhythm that Ankalaev was doing. But after seeing some videos of Alex Pereira, I think he's refreshed. I felt when he fought Ankalaev, he was just going banger after banger after banger after banger. I think sometimes the athlete that can wear you out, it could extinguish the fire. And I think now that he's had a lot of rest, he's been able to, enjoy the fruits of his labor of all that money he's made. Now he's refreshed, and now he's coming to this fight with a new set of eyes. For that, I'm gonna go with Alex Pereira. Potan.
Robert Whittaker felt Magomed Ankalaev had the right skills to beat Alex Pereira, unlike many of Pereira's past opponents. He explained that Pereira had dominated others, but not many fighters in the division had both wrestling and all-around skills like Ankalaev, which made him a real danger.
Ankalaev has the skill set to beat Pereira. Because you look at Pereira's opponents that he's fought, yeah, he ran through them, but those dudes weren't the guys to beat him, I don't think. Like, I think Jan was a good shout to beat him. But
and we saw how close that fight was. I mean,
exactly, you know what I mean? So again, there aren't a lot of those heavy wrestle mixed guys in the division at this moment.
Alexander Volkanovski praised Pereira's skills and ability to adjust, but pointed out that Ankalaev is tricky with his stance changes, defense, and mixed attacks. He said fighting a strong southpaw like Ankalaev made things harder for Pereira, and overall, he leaned toward Ankalaev to win.
Pereira's so good, and can he make the adjustments? Yes, but Ankalaev showed me just then, watching a bit of the tape, that he can mix it up, change his looks, even change his stances. He's obviously predominantly southpaw, but change his stances, that what suits him defensively. Very wary of where he is, where the danger is. When he's a little more safe, where he can, maybe win some of, have a bit of octagon control himself here and there. Again, very wary of all that sort of stuff, and that's going to be a major factor. Southpaw, again, I feel like Pereira can still do some great work, but if people are very effective with southpaw, it can make it a little bit harder for Pereira. That's all I'm saying. Doesn't mean that he loses every time he gets southpaw. Just he finds that a little bit harder, especially when you're effective with the southpaw, like Ankalaev will be.
Alexander Volkanovski anticipated Magomed Ankalaev to emerge victorious in the rematch. In his view, Ankalaev would rely more heavily on wrestling, even if takedowns were limited, while staying defensively sound on the feet and keeping a steady pace. Volkanovski felt Ankalaev could re-establish control of the octagon whenever needed and do enough to edge out a decision over 5 rounds. Though he acknowledged Pereira's knockout ability as a real danger, he still believed Ankalaev had the clearer path to victory.
I'm picking, if you're just picking on who's going to win this, I think Ankalaev does it again. I think he's going to be more wrestle heavy. Will he get the takedowns? No, but he's safe enough on the feet to just constantly get himself out of danger. He's going to be fit enough. You know what I mean? So when he's danger and if Pereira's doing a great job, he can stick to him a little bit, then get himself back there, get him out of danger, win back that octagon control, do enough to just win 5-round decision. So I'm going to have to go with Ankalaev for the win. Can Pereira get the knockout? 100%. But I think Ankalaev wins.
On the other hand, Dricus du Plessis believed Alex Pereira would win back the light heavyweight title for Magomed Ankalaev. He said Pereira's striking was never the problem, but the clinch exchanges gave him trouble. He expected Pereira to fix those mistakes in the rematch.
Do you think there's actually more pressure on Pereira here?
I think what's going to happen here is, he's coming to prove a point. And like you say, he's not a young guy anymore. He's nearing the end of his career. So it's going to be exciting to see what he does after this, regardless of the outcome. I honestly feel the way I saw him in training, the stuff that I saw, he looks sharper. It looks, like I said, just more intense. But the striking was never the problem. The striking was never the problem for him. It's the fact that he got smothered. And for a striker, that is not so hard to, I think he has the right people around. That's not going to be so hard to start and figure out, this is how I don't get smothered. Learn to fight in that clinch situation because he has the elbows, he has the knees, he has all that. So he's going to need to keep it back off the fence. And I do believe that they've spent enough time on working on that. And him taking some time away from the sport was good for him. Sometimes you need to do that to, get that reset and get that hunger back. I really don't see this fight going the distance this time. But I'm putting my money on Pereira to claim the title. I have to go with him.
Henry Cejudo and Kamaru Usman also shared their views on UFC 320 and the Ankalaev vs Pereira rematch. Cejudo said Pereira looked different this time, but still leaned toward Ankalaev. Usman explained that Pereira needed to be more aggressive, though that could give Ankalaev chances to land big shots. Both agreed that Ankalaev's power and all-around skills gave him the advantage, but Cejudo added that if Pereira smarter, staying in the center and using better leg kicks, the fight could change.
So who wins? You didn't really give us a prediction here.
It's hard to go up against Unk time, but I feel like this is a different Pereira, bro. I'm kind of swinging Pereira, but I'm gonna put it with Ankalaev, man. Am I wrong? Am I wrong?
Alex Pereira, he's got to be more aggressive than he was that first fight. And by him being a lot more aggressive, he's gonna leave those openings, and I think Magomed Ankalaev might land something significant. So I do think Ankalaev walks away with the belt and still.
Alex Pereira fought a lot closer to the cage, bro. For Magomed, he's gonna have to get those takedowns. He has to do it early, and he's gonna have to do it in the center. And for Alex Pereira, if he can make his lead leg, his left as good as his right, it could be a different fight, man.
Furthermore, Dustin Poirier thought Alex Pereira would pressure Magomed Ankalaev nonstop in the rematch. He believed Pereira's hunger to win back the title would lead him to finish the fight, most likely by knockout.
You said you think Alex is a good underdog value pick. Tell me why. Why do you think he wins this fight?
I just think he's danced with this guy before. He wants that title back, and he wants to win. He wants revenge, and he wants to show that wasn't him in the last fight. There's a lot of reasons why, and I just feel like he's too dangerous of a fighter to go in there and not find that shot this fight.
You think you see it inside the distance knockout?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a TKO or a KO inside the distance.
Meanwhile, Max Holloway thought Alex Pereira would use his strong leg kicks against Magomed Ankalaev. He said Pereira didn't use them enough in the first fight, even though Ankalaev was weak to leg kicks. Holloway expected Pereira to keep the fight standing, attack the legs early, and win back the belt.
I'm telling you right now, I'm willing to bet right now with anyone, is that we're going to see Alex Pereira's vintage leg kicks in this fight. I guarantee he was pissed at himself for that first fight for not doing it, especially with the information that he had with the way Magomedov takes leg kicks in one of his older fights. I think Alex goes in there, he's not going to get hold against the cage. I think he's going to stay his distance. I think he's going to get on leg kicks early, and I think Alex get his hands raised, man. I think Pereira is going to be the champion again, and it's going to be fun. No disrespect to Magomed. No disrespect to him. He's a beast. He's an animal. I think he's really good. But I don't think Alex is going to let him push him against the cage like how he did in the first outing. And I don't think Alex is going to wait too much. Like, Alex was waiting on him a lot. And that's why Magomedov could go first. And you know, he would start the combination and he would also end it, you know. I think Alex is going to start. I think he's going to come out early, super early with leg kicks. And I think so we're going to get an Anu for this main event, man. I can't wait.
Tom Aspinall pointed out that Alex Pereira had easier matchups before facing Magomed Ankalaev. He noted that while Ankalaev didn't go for many takedowns in their first fight, the constant threat of his wrestling made him a much tougher challenge. Aspinall believed the stylistic advantage set Ankalaev apart from Pereira's past opponents.
I think the matchups were quite favourable to him up until this point. I think the threat that Ankalaev brings in, him being a southpaw, him controlling the range really well, and him just with the threat of the takedowns. Even in the first fight, we didn't really see him really go for the takedowns too much, but I think just the threat being there, I think stylistically, he's a bad matchup for Pereira, and I wouldn't be surprised if he does it again.
Brendan Schwab also favored Alex Pereira in the rematch against Magomed Ankalaev. He noted that Pereira brought more excitement and connected well with fans, which benefited the UFC overall. Schwab believed Pereira entered the fight stronger, healthier, and wiser from their first encounter, giving him the edge and potential to win.
So I do think Alex has the tools to pull this off, and for the sport and for the longevity of the UFC and for this new Paramount deal, you want Alex to win. And listen, I don't need a guy tweeting and doing all the shit talking and all that stuff. It's just Magomed's style, even though he's looked upon as a grappler, but there's just some disconnect there with the fan base and with the media where Magomed's not a bigger star. I do think we see a very different fight from Alex, being healthy, having the tape study of the first fight. Even though he's injured, he can take a lot from that. I hope he wins. I hope Alex wins.
Nick Barnhill broke down the rematch by noting that Magomed Ankalaev might not have found it any easier against Alex Pereira the second time around. He recalled how Pereira earned Ankalaev's respect right away in their first meeting, and while Ankalaev adapted, he never fully took over. Barnhill admitted Pereira wasn't the most complete fighter in every area, but stressed that his striking remained world-class, even if it didn't fully come through in their initial clash.
I'm not of the nature that everybody seems to think Ankalaev is just going to go in there and beat him easier and even faster than he did last time. Pereira did give him some things to worry about. He had his respect early on, and of course that respect started to fade later into the fight, but not fully, because if it did, Ankalaev probably would have pushed on the gas a little bit harder and looked for the finish. Pereira might not be the fighter that Ankalaev is in mixed martial arts, but when it comes to striking, he still is one of the highest level guys in the UFC. He obviously came in the first time with limited weapons, mostly sitting around all night looking for the lead hook. He was also trying to beat the calf up, but Ankalaev did a pretty good job at noticing that, and then as the fight went on, he made that less and less effective.
Nick Barnhill predicted that Alex Pereira could have found himself behind on the scorecards if he spent too much time waiting for counters instead of applying pressure. He suggested that Pereira's best chance might have come from taking risks in the later rounds, where a push for the finish could have turned the fight in his favor. Still, Barnhill admitted it was unclear whether Pereira would choose a cautious approach or gamble for the big moment in the rematch.
If Pereira doesn't start mixing it up, and instead of waiting for counter strikes, start to bring the offense himself, he will find himself low on the scorecards again. Then we're basically going to look at the exact same fight where Ankalaev wins a 5-round victory, unanimous decision, or Pereira says, you know what, risk it all for the biscuit in these last couple rounds. I'm going to go out there and try to get this belt back. If that happens, I could see a late finish happening, but I don't know which side of the game Pereira is going to come in on.
Moreover, UFC heavyweight Curtis Blades backed Alex Pereira in the rematch, highlighting his toughness in fighting through injury and illness. He said that if Pereira showed up fully healthy, he expected him to secure the victory. Former UFC heavyweight Martin Buday viewed the rematch between Alex Pereira and Magomed Ankalaev as evenly matched. He noted that Pereira appeared off in their first fight, but expected him to be sharper and more aggressive this time. While Buday saw it as a balanced contest, he admitted he hoped to see Pereira reclaim the title. On the other hand, light heavyweight fighter Modestas Bukauskas also backed Magomed Ankalaev to win the rematch. He recognized Alex Pereira's striking ability but expected Ankalaev to execute his game plan more effectively, pointing out that his southpaw stance would pose a challenge for Pereira. So that's all we have from today's video, and hopefully you've enjoyed it. Share your thoughts about this fight in the comment section, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more interesting UFC videos.